Hello, my name is Thomas Gallant, and I'm here to talk about the artistic movement of Romanticism. What is Romanticism? Romanticism is broken up into two parts, and its social values and formal values. And its social values are emotion and also a sense of where you are in the world. And the formal values are naturalism and an individualistic sense. Mostly, if we were to just summarize what Romanticism is, it is an individual's feelings about a certain thing in the world, and they paint about it. There's no order or anything like that. It's just if how they feel is how they'll paint, and that is the era of Romanticism. The time and place for Romanticism was the late 18th century to mid 19th century, or late 1700s to mid 1800s. This is right after the Revolutionary War, pretty much. And the places that were most prominent were in Europe, and the two most prominent places were France and Britain. Mostly France. A lot of artists came out of France that were intrigued by Romanticism. And the other two places which weren't as prominent but still had a lot of artists come out of it were Germany and Spain. The artist that I have chosen to talk about is Francisco Goya, and Francisco Goya was born March 30th, 1746 in Spain. So he is a Spanish artist. He was a very prominent Romanticism artist. He created a lot of works and was considered one of the better Romanticism artists of the era. He also was part of the Spanish royal court, and he did a lot of paintings for the Spanish royal court. And he mostly did all his paintings for King Charles IV, who was in power at the time in Spain. And he ended up dying April 16th, 1828. And here is one of the paintings that Francisco Goya did. It was called Charles IV and His Family. It was basically a giant portrait. But if you look all the way back in the upper left, Francisco Goya actually painted himself in the painting, and what is presumed to be what he is painting right now. And I know it's a little hard to tell, but if you can tell right here, there's a big circle of light around Queen Maria Luisa, and it really displays his feelings and his individualistic feelings about women, and women especially in power. Because she's a queen, she's married to obviously King Charles IV, and he felt that even though everybody else in the kingdom saw King Charles IV as the prominent head of the country, through him meeting the family, he found that Queen Luisa looked to be more on the top of the power chain in the family as opposed to King Charles IV. And he displays this a lot in his paintings, even painting about the Duchess of Alba. He also does this style where he basically elevates the women of the family, showing that they do have a lot of power in the family. The next painting I'm going to talk about is the 3rd of May, 1808. And this painting is about when Napoleon invades Spain, back when the French and the Spanish were at war. And this painting depicts a bunch of French soldiers armed to execute a bunch of innocent Spanish civilians. And as we can see through this painting, through Francisco Goya's feelings about this time period specifically, is that he shows a bunch of innocent Spaniards, and especially this one right here in the middle, who's wearing a white shirt with his hands up, really signaling a sense of surrender. And but because he saw the French and pretty much all the other Spaniards as tyrants and the big bullies of Europe at the time during Napoleon's reign, which they did conquer a lot of Europe before they eventually fell to Russia. And so a lot of individualistic feelings, and this is a real good example of how Romanticism paintings look too, because everything is really flowing. There's not really a lot of straight lines here. It's a lot of curved. Even on the swords, you can see the curve. And then up here, curve. And then the hair. The hair is really prominent in this because in a lot of Romanticism paintings, the hair is really flowing rather than having really straight hair. And if we even go back right here, you can see a lot of it is curved hair, curly hair. And so it gives it a sense of natural flow throughout the painting rather than the straight order and way a certain thing has to go. And so that's all I have to talk about in this my rendition of Romanticism. Thank you for listening.